We have covered the work of Mansfield Tracy Walworth in episode 340. Today we will cover his Zahara, or A Leap for Empire, published in 1888, 15 years after he was murdered by his son. The book's copyright was ascribed to Walworth's wife, Ellen Hardin Walworth, whose abusive treatment by Walworth was the impetus for his death. This novel is very strange. One has to realise that Walworth died less than 3 years after the deposition of Napoleon III, and that the novel must have been written while he was still on the throne, as the novel is a glorification of Napoleon III, making him the hero of an over-the-top fantastical adventure story, and ending with him being triumphant and still ruling France, and published 18 years after he no longer did so. But mind you, it is also being weird about this, because it takes until page 291 for anyone to say the word Napoleon, and until 317 for the name Bonaparte to be first mentioned. Until then, Napoleon is only referred to indirectly as the great man, etc., and the family is simply called the dethroned dynasty or a great name that no one dares to say out loud until almost the end of the book. The story begins in the fortress of Ham, that being the Chateau de Ham in Somme, where Prince Louis Bonaparte is imprisoned after several failed attempts to seize the throne. Flinging himself from a window down a 700-foot abyss, he is saved by his manacles getting caught in a tree. Note that Napoleon III was imprisoned in Ham, but it is not atop a 700-foot tall hill, and he got out by impersonating a painter. Prince Louis finds refuge among a camp of gypsies whose queen promises to aid him. Disguising him as a gypsy, he assumes the name of Zahara and is on the run. Along the way he meets Gabrielle, a peasant girl banished from her village for playing songs of the old empire on her bugle, bemoaning a man whom the royal soldiers are murdering in the forest for his loyalty to Napoleon. Zahara introduces himself as an agent of Prince Louis, and promises to bring Gabriella to himself. They travel around, and Zahara/Louis wins the heart of a Spanish countess, while also being as equally interested in her as in a small wooden globe she has, a family heirloom said to point to a great treasure. Leaving France for Venice, Zahara and Gabrielle help to free the daughter of a local glassblower from prison. In doing so, Louis is initiated into the Carbonari, a secret revolutionary society spread all through Europe, and discovers a secret room with 2 skeletons and the immense treasure gathered by the infamous Council of Ten, the tyrannical council governing Venice until 1797. But despite obtaining gold worth 30 million and jewels worth just as much in 1840s money, Louis is still unsatisfied and needs more for his attempt to seize the throne of France. Among some papers in an ancient chest, he discovers by pure chance the map that is the counterpart to the globe given to him by his fiancée. Using this, he manages to find the mythical land of Parvaim and the gold mines of King Solomon. You know, that thing Napoleon III famously did. The mines in the Arctic regions are long abandoned. So Louis and his professor friend wander through the empty halls of an ancient temple beneath an eternally burning Egyptian cross. Getting 6 Englishmen to help fund a mining expedition, he returns to France and suddenly wants to get himself elected to the National Assembly, because now Walworth decided he would return to writing actual history. Gabrielle, who loves him in secret, is wounded in the conflict of expelling the Austrians from Italy, and Louis bellyaches about how to advance her in rank despite her only being a peasant. And then a doctor friend tells him to just do it, but it's rendered meaningless as Gabrielle is the long-lost sister of his wife. So no advancing any peasants and giving them ideas after all. The book ending with Napoleon III not fighting Prussia because his gold-making secret island sunk into the sea. The book is 90% fictional adventure, so the return to contemporary historical facts such as detailed movements of anonymous regiments in battle is very jarring and kind of boring in comparison. Also, one has to realise he was writing this about someone who was still alive and in office at the time.